You have reached the end, not of this show, but of the FC Cincinnati season. Congrats to you, listener. Those were not easy matches to take, but you and your determined love of Cincinnati and soccer made it bearable. You are listening to the Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I'm Boston Brazel, who has been employed to ease you into this offseason. As your weekends free up, you will wonder, what do I do now? I'm here to stop you from immediately demanding transfer rumors, to stop you from driving up to the Great American Tower and demanding Carl Linder buy out Kenneth Vermeer. Take a moment. Enjoy the silence. Hear that? That is a sound of hope. We are not dropping points each week. We bask in this beautiful silence. Our new general manager gets to take advantage of this silence as long as we give it to him. Time to watch the next generation of FC Cincinnati get built. And the man does have some good ideas. He met with supporter groups last week, and we have heard really positive news and just the things he's looking for to come forth. But before I lull you into full off-season relaxation mode, fire up those soccer-loving boosters because we have the biggest matches of them all on Friday. MLS playoffs? Nah. USA versus Mexico takes the cake. And we are having a party, and we hope you join us. Before I get too much into that, I need to introduce my fellow co-hosts. I got to close my season out seeing this bar celebrity. Mr. Tebbets, are people still asking you for autographs after your big Sam Adams photo gig?
I don't know about that. I look kind of creepy. I still had the Ted Lasso mustache from Halloween, but it felt good to close out the season in the sharp suit. It felt good just to end things on a high note there, and then I went to the game, and unfortunately, everything went to pot after that.
I got out and about. It was awesome seeing you. For those of you wondering what in the world I'm talking about, I was enjoying a nice cold one when someone walked up to my good friend Geoff Tebbets here and asked him, "Hey, will you be on our Twitter promotion for the game day?" And so there he was. He was the face of Sam Adams' Twitter, if you want to go look at
it. Congratulations, Sam Adams. I don't know why you'd want this mug advertising your beer, but more power to you.
You're in the press box for USA versus Mexico. What's your game plan for getting a seat with all the media up there? It's going to be a scrum.
It's going to be whatever part of the window I can get. It's exciting. The last time I was at a U.S. game was, well, unfortunately, that 3-0 debacle that was at Nippert. But before that, it was the 2-1 loss in Columbus and to Mexico. So I want to cheer my butt off, but unfortunately, I have to be very, on the low key. I'm sure that people will appreciate that.
Act like you've been there before. You represent good old Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We appreciate you going up there, though, and representing. I sadly wasn't able to run into you, Bryan, at this last match. You asked where I was, and I saw you were in full dad mode, so I just left you alone.
That's probably best for everybody, leaving me alone with 3 kids and the wife. No, we had a great time, and people were talking about takeaways for the season, and I would have to say that bringing my kids was a highlight for me. I took my 2 oldest to 3 games. I took my youngest to additional 2, whatever it was. And, my 2 older ones, they fell in love with it. Of course, the young one loved it because I would get him a box of candy every time. But, they got the FC Cincinnati love, and we're building it. And that's why people ask, why would you want MLS over USL? You're great in USL. You stink in MLS. It's because staying power and having a place to ourselves and sharing this to our kids and hopefully grandkids someday. I made a hell of a year with that. So I'll never lose that and can't wait to build it for the future.
That's right. And by the
also key to leaving and staying happy as an FC Cincinnati fans, leaving early before we lose. The kids think we won.
Oh no, I can't get on that bandwagon with it.
That's a tough one, man.
You pay for a match, you got to stay for a match.
Yeah. 24-month-old says, we got to go.
Well, by the time your kids are old enough to remember these games, the score lines anyway, the FC Cincinnati will probably be in a better spot. So some of them are just enjoying the candy. And eventually they get to enjoy the soccer. Back for more punishment. Second appearance on the show, Jason Ashcraft. Welcome back to CST. Has your mother told you how proud she was of you after hearing you on our first podcast?
Oh, my mom is so proud of me. I mean, she was like, they got to hear your beautiful voice of my baby boy, and got to hear what I hear every day. It was great. Family loved it. It's great to be back, guys. Thanks for
number one
having me back.
that's the reason we really bring our new co-hosts on is if we get their families, it ups our views by like 4. So we'll take what we can
and
get.
I got lots of cousins and kinfolk from down in Kentucky and stuff. So, maybe boost the listenership a little bit.
Well, we appreciate it. If you are listening to our show, it will not surprise you that we are sponsored by an awesome drink, Suero X, 0 sugar, 0 calories. The power of 8 ions will speed up your recovery time, and they want you to be a part of it. So come on down to our live show this week. Bryan will tell you a little bit more about that later, but our sponsor is going to be a part of it, and we should have awesome stuff for everybody. On this show, though, we're going to give you our best and worst. Like we normally do. We got a fun new segment called Worst Takes of the Year. And that's the problem. When you've been on a mic this long, sometimes you say dumb stuff. So we're going to call each other out on that, I think. Recap Atlanta really quick. MLS schedule 2022's out as far as what is happening when. And then we got a little bit of news to talk about before we get into a U.S. segment with our friends over at Stars and Stripes FC. So, kick it off, Bryan. Best and worst.
All right. Well, on the best front, I loved seeing Viacia and Blackett together to start the match, and I think you have to say that Tyler Blackett. I was fortunate enough to be on the sideline versus my normal end zone seats, and just watching him manage the back four. Very optimistic for him in his future at FC Cincinnati. I know Brad and I were really down on that signing originally, but if he can continue to play well, organize, yes, he's going to have hiccups, but I mean, I don't think really many of those issues that we had this week were on him. If anything, I think he may have saved a goal or two plus Viacia's head. But yeah, I'm very happy how he played this year. My worst, you could see Blackett and Viacia just not trust in anything Kenneth Vermeer was doing back there. Even though Vermeer had a couple really good saves, I mean, they were literally attempting plays, and that's, I think, how the first goal happened. They're kicking the ball out versus letting Vermeer get his paws on a ball. But yeah, I just think that the play of the goalkeeper, just again, he did have great saves, but I think it overall let us down in the match. Plus, he had the gaff of the year. I guess we can talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, so worst is we need a goalkeeper very bad.
Yep, I think that's on the list. Probably a high priority for the new GM. Geoff, you were there, suit and all. Give me your best and worst.
You know me, I give the worst first, and then I give the best last, leave you with a good impression. My worst, it seems like I repeat this over and over and over and over again. The inability to hold a lead. Mm-hmm. It's bitten us so many times this year. I've done the crunch the numbers. I've done the math. We've had leads in 14 games. If you've seen our record, we've won 4 games. That means the other 10 leads we've blown somehow. 4 of those we've blown and we've drawn at the end, and 6 of those we've blown and lost. This weekend wasn't any different. The lead at halftime was great, but once the second half started and you could tell we were on our heels, it just, everything, of course, went downhill from there. Those are 2 great goals against us, of course. So it's hard to complain about that. The best is the fact that it was decision day. And I love decision day. I didn't think I'd be saying this. The past 2 years, we've had to watch them on the road for the last game of the season. And to see them playing, even though it really wasn't anything for us to play for, it was great seeing all of these games being played where the last kick could determine who goes into the playoffs and who doesn't. We saw that with Real Salt Lake winning at the death to knock out the LA Galaxy. That was incredible to see that. You were able to see Orlando gut out a win in Montreal and determine the fate of other teams and demolish Columbus's season at the same time. So just think about this. Like Caleb Porter came up to us after that draw and shushed the crowd. If they had won that game, they'd be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Instead, he's happy just shushing the crowd. Enjoy your golf game, Caleb. I hope it's good.
Geoff, one little note about that. I don't call it decision day. I call it non-relegation day because thank the Lord that the NISA Pauls aren't on our league yet.
It was still a decision day this year. I had to decide what beer I wanted when I was in line.
We'd be in the UPSL.
That's what I thought it meant.
We'd be in the UPSL right now if we had relegation. That'd be pretty bad.
USL
way down. We'd be like 5th tier.
Well, that's not the case. Jason, best and worst.
I'm in a complaining mood today, so I'll just say Zico Bailey for my best. He's probably played himself into a roster spot next year, I would say. My worst, though, and this is more of a culmination of the season, me just being frustrated with him, but Lucho Acosta and his inability to make the easy pass. We've seen it throughout the season. This guy, he's got all the talent in the world, and what he can do with the ball is remarkable. But how many times have we seen Brenner or Vasquez or Barrial or anybody have to make 2 or 3 runs for this guy before he even lets go of the ball? And not that it cost us a lot of goals in this game, but I have to think, back to Jeff's point, there might have been a couple of games where we had scored 1 or 2 extra goals because Lucho made the easy pass. And that is something that the next coach is going to have to drill out of his head, because I don't know if I can watch another season of that.
Yeah. Bryan, you left early. Did you get your commemorative poster?
I did. I got like 3 of them.
Ooh.
Oh man, I was hoping you missed out because you left early.
Well, so I was in the First Financial Club, big club guy for the first time ever. By the way, that place is pretty neat. And yeah, all 3 kids got them.
All right. Jason stole my best, but it's all right because Zico Bailey deserves all the praise he could get.
It's that time of the podcast.
That's right.
Praise from Boston for Zico Bailey.
For weeks I've been saying Bailey, even when he screwed up, and you guys criticized me, and our listeners rightfully sometimes criticized me, but I felt like a king of the Bailey on Sunday when Zico Bailey scored that goal. And I'm telling you, man, this kid's the future. He's young. His best years are ahead of him. This is no Frankie. This is like
they better be ahead of him.
This is like Frankie times 2, man. I'm hyped. I've never been hyped on a player before, have I? Except for maybe a couple in the USL.
Well, Frankie scored only 1 goal for us, didn't he?
Yeah,
You are
matched
correct.
him there.
Oh, is it really? Oh my God. Well, congrats to Boston. He finally got a little soccer right. So good job.
that's right.
What's
My
your
worst
worst,
is
Boston?
my worst is that midfield, man. We just cannot get that ball through there, and that's I think. I mean, you guys are talking about not holding a lead, but you can't hold a lead when the back line has to play the whole game, and that's kind of what happens in those second halves. The back line is all the pressure, and then we just can't get the ball forward, and when we do, it's quickly over. But
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll talk about that. I don't know if it'll be tonight's show, but who we'd keep. I think Laurel was reporting that decisions might, here you saw the chopping block come down today from Chicago, but you might not see that till maybe next week or the week after for FC Cincinnati. So
yeah,
we got a lot of discussions ahead of ourselves with the FC Cincinnati front, but thank God we could talk a little positivity at some point here.
yeah. But before we do that, man, we've all said some dumb stuff. Zico Bailey would have been on this list if he let me down, but he didn't. So who is on your list, or what thing have you said that maybe was your worst take of the year?
I'll kick that off here because I had a couple whack takes this year for sure. I said Kubo would probably be the team MVP, which I guess there's some argument you could be made there. But I think my worst take of the year, I think I said it on every guest podcast I had, that our floor, our the ability for our team, the floor was just dramatically raised. Like, there's no way we can be as worse as the last 2 seasons. There's no way. All this money spent. Yep, that really worked. Third worst season in MLS history. Congratulations, 1 home win, setting records all over the place. So I think I can own that one for this year.
One of us went on 700 WW and said that. Was that you?
Thanks, Boston. Hate you.
All right.
Have we finally hit rock bottom, David Moore? Have we finally hit rock bottom? If US loses on Friday, I can't imagine what a rock bottom.
Don't put that evil out there.
Yeah, that's bad
Not in our
mojo,
state.
man.
We
Get out of here.
sacrificed a season just to win this USA game. I swear.
Yes, 110%. Oh shoot! Who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go next. I remembered making my picks and posting it out for the extra time guys to sort of pick it as well. I said that we'd finish 10th, but I also said Matarrita for MVP, and I might not be too far from that.
Yeah.
Golden Boot, I said Brenner, and he was the Golden Boot winner for FC Cincinnati this year. But I also said Defender of the Year, Camo. And even worse, like I remember doing this, I think on one of the podcasts, I said we'd finish 10th, 19th overall, but that we'd finish ahead of Nashville. And that when that reality set in, of course, that that happened when they tied their 18th game of the season on Sunday. But that's a tough pill to swallow. I just do not like seeing Nashville finish that high.
That's 2 gold ones though. The Makocho one is pretty. That's a pretty rough.
I totally forgot about it until I looked at my tweet about it. But I also had like playoffs ? And it was just a GIF of Charlie Murphy from the Dave Chappelle show doing his laugh. That type of thing.
You could be an actor there, Geoff.
I'm way off on that.
Jason gets off a little easier because he wasn't on our staff to put his worst takes into words in some of our roundtables this season. But I know you've been on Twitter. I know you said some stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's if you want to see stuff that I say, it's on Twitter at JasonBase513. Every year at the beginning of the season, I put out my picks that are guaranteed to be wrong. So at least I give myself a little bit of cover. But I picked FC Cincinnati to be playing a meaningful game on decision day, which I think that was probably the worst take. I figured with the amount of money they spent, with what I was hoping was going to be Jaap Stam's breakout year as a coach, and Brenner and Locadia up top, that they would at least be in playoff contention. And how wrong was I? And I also, to make Geoff feel a little better, I also had us finishing above Nashville. And how wrong I was there as well.
Where did you have us finishing?
It was in spitting distance of the playoffs. So meaningful game on the last day. I think it was like 9th or so, but yeah.
Well, everyone on our staff had they were picking low for FC Cincinnati at the beginning. So that was the one that I feel like most of our staff was kind of closer on because they didn't want to take that risk after 2 bad seasons. So I went ahead and just said 6th because but it was more of a reaction of what our staff was doing. I wanted to be the guy that was like, no, we got this. We did not have that, by the way. And I said Kuba would be our leading scorer. And then they moved him to defense on me or midfield. So that didn't work. So those are 2 big misses. So I guess I'm going to go mid-season. Mid-season, I started preaching the Ben Lunt, the big Lunt thing, because I thought we had seen enough of Vermeer, and I thought we had seen enough of Teton. So I was preaching that Ben Lunt would at least win us some of these games, and I think I was around 3.
Not a single minute on the pitch.
Not a single minute, but I do kind of saying Ben Lunt would have won this team 3 matches is kind of overkill, I think.
I don't know if that's actually a bad take. I would say Ben Lunt could have at least kept us in 3 matches.
Well, I think Ben Lunt probably would have also known that the ball goes out of bounds or stayed in bounds versus disappearing, and the ref's like, WTF, bro? So, yeah. At least Ben Lunt didn't make that. I mean, Bobby Edwards had his gaff last year, so at least Ben didn't have that moment.
Whew, $400,000 keeper walking behind the net in the middle of the game, leaving the net wide open.
He was done with the season. He was just ready to get it over with.
If you watch that match at home, I don't think you know that happened because it did not make television.
No, I admittedly didn't go to TQL Stadium this weekend, and I didn't know it happened until I think it was Pat's tweet about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our seats are right there. Our normal seats are like
Yeah.
just right off the middle there. And I guess Brad was saying that everybody in the stands like, Vermeer, get back in the net, like just yelling at the guy. But I guess Brad did say though that the ball hit off the post, and then I guess the Atlanta player kicked the boards or whatever below there. So maybe he thought they went out. But golly, poor guy.
Kevin Roll on Facebook said he was there losing his mind. So there you go. Apparently the fans knew the ball was still in play.
Oh. Well, hopefully we don't have to see Kenneth Vermeer more than 3 to 5 times next year. Hopefully.
Well, not only do we have our event on Friday, we have one on Wednesday. You can join your fellow FC Cincinnati and USA fans November 10th for Last Call Trivia at Northern Row. This is kind of a cool event because it's going to be us, Pat Brennan, Laurel Fowler. It's a special event that's just an unofficial kickoff. It's not one of the official items you want to do on your list as you gear up to the game, but it's a bonus one. And we encourage you to come out, join us, form a team of up to 8 players, and see if you can beat your fellow FCC fans in trivia. I believe this is also in association with the Pride, which makes sense because it's at Northern Row, located at 111 West McMicken Avenue. See you on the 10th.
Yeah, we're going to have a bunch of CST people down there, and we're giving away CST swag, bags, all that cool stuff. So check it out.
There is no truth to the rumor that you win the wooden spoon if you win this event. There's no truth to that.
But would you get to take a shot off the wooden spoon, Geoff? Might need to clean it after this week.
Yeah. Need to spit shine that thing.
I could show up with some cases of Sworox for you, Bri.
There we go. Let's do it. All right, yeah. I mean, we got a lot going on this week, man. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you guys have got to check out all what is gonna happen down there at OTR and West End this week. But of course, Thursday you got the AO party, then the night before party, which is always entertaining as can be. And then you have what I think is going to be a highlight for CST. We're going to have we're going to be a part of Rhinehaus and OTR's block party event. They're going to shut down Clay Street. The city's shutting down Clay Street. They're going to have a street side brewery there, Taquiera Los Condados food truck there, along with a huge projection screen. We're going to be tying into the speakers through the whole place and have a great live show starting at noon down there at Rhinehaus. So please check us out. And we are working actually with several American Outlaws chapters. They're going to be bringing their scarves to either swap or sell at the event. So please come out if you want to buy a AO Lexington scarf or AO Dayton or Indy. Please come down and do that Friday beginning at noon. Going to be giving away some free koozies. I think some free Swero X. So come check us out.
Yeah, it'll be a blast. Seriously, Friday is one of the biggest days. You're going to remember it for a long time, especially if the United States beats Mexico. And if you can make that an all-dayer, I know I'm working in the morning and then I'm going to head out to catch the noon show for CST. But if you can get the day off, I wish I could get the day off because this is one of those things that you want to do an all-dayer because night before party, all-dayer. I remember the last US Mexico game so vividly. And I took 2 days off for that.
Do you? Because you disappeared.
It was one of the best soccer times of my life I've had in the last 4 years. And so
you mean to tell me
I'm
Mr.
ready to
PTO,
relive it.
You mean to tell me Mr. PTO isn't taking PTO?
Right?
For this game?
Right?
Partially. I'm taking PTO for this game.
Yeah, so am I.
I work right next to where we're going to be. And so I was like, you know what? I can either sleep in or just go clock a few hours and save that PTO for another day.
So a couple, housekeeping here as well. Nate's flying in. Coach is coming in from California.
Awesome.
I mean, we're gonna have. I think Paul's coming up from Louisville. I don't know if Soup's coming. I can't remember what he's doing. He's got so many things going on, but we're gonna have a great group there Friday, and I think we're gonna try to maybe do a meetup Thursday night as well, depending when some of us all get in. But dude, man, it's gonna be incredible. And Boston, you won't have to listen to me snore this year. We're not sharing the same hotel room, so you're
That's
good.
right.
You know what's so funny? I bought this jersey that I'm wearing, Weston McKennie, my boy, and I bought an XL because I was gaining some weight during COVID, and I've lost all this weight, and that's like a freaking huge ass shirt on me. So, I guess I got to go out and get a real one and not one off DHgate, right? It's quality though. Actually, it does say Nike.
It's a nice looking jersey. I like the if you're not able to see it, it's the dark blue, red sort of crooked stripes. Really nice. We liked seeing it on the I think the women wore that for their game as well. It's just a nice design. It's not going to be iconic, but it's a nice design.
Yeah. If anybody has a large or medium of the Waldo, please, I will buy it off you.
2022 MLS season. You guys want to talk about this real quick? Eyes popped out of my head when I saw the start date. February 26th in Cincinnati. That is some cold soccer, boys.
But, we need to move to the European schedule. Soccer will never make it in the United States until we move to the European schedule. Now, I mean, honestly, I don't think it's going to be that bad. February 26th, yeah, it's going to be a little cold. But if you think about opening day, isn't that usually around early, mid-March most years? So it's Ohio. You never know what the weather's going to be like. Just wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, I am getting a housekeeping message as well from people that work down at the stadium. Get there early. There's going to be enhanced protocols to get into the match. So please get down.
Oh.
Yes, get down there very early. And if you can, of course, then you got a lot of great drinking options in the stadium. So
if you start your day with us, you'll already be ready to go at noon.
I know.
Plenty of time.
I'm going to need to drink 8 boxes of that Swear X to stay hydrated.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, getting back to that February 26th thing, I'm not that concerned about it. I think the 2020 season started on March 1st up in New York, right? Or I'm sorry, New Jersey. So I'm not that concerned about it starting at that date.
Man, I wouldn't have been 10 years ago. I'm turning into some old man, sitting on my porch, yelling at people wow, that just seems rough. Gonna be hanging out in that First Financial Club. Heat that thing up. So decision day, that would make decision day October 9th, and then MLS Cup November 5th. And it sounds like the effort really is to get games in before World Cup so players can make those international breaks. And then the other flip side of the coin is Major League Soccer is saying no one should have more than 5, right? Wednesday games or midweek games.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Hell,
that's a
man,
trade-off.
as long as we don't have to freaking play Louisville or not Louisville, got Columbus or Nashville midweek. That's all I just damn ask, please.
I mean, you're gonna end up getting midweek games because the U.S. Open Cup should be back. But once again, if you can prevent any regular season games happening on a Wednesday, that's the cherry on top.
And Nashville moves to the Western Conference next year, so we only play
once.
them probably once, I think.
Oh.
Unless it's some sort of weird protected rivalry that they mix in next year.
I hope not.
Yeah. I could do without Nashville for 1 year. Give me just one game against them.
Well, we had some breaking news from Laurel tonight, I believe, right? We had heard a while ago that Philly's assistant technical director, Kyle McCarthy, was going to become with Chris Albright, and then nothing. And I know Bryan and I talked about it once. We were a little concerned. We thought this thing was going to happen, and we wondered what was going on. Club never confirmed, announced, or even deflected, but Laurel Failer has said she believes he will be in place or is in place as FCC's Director of Strategic Soccer Planning.
Yeah, great get by Laurel and great great kid by Albright getting his, I don't know if second in command or whatever, third in command. But yeah, at least we're building the pieces to the future. And I mean, did we ever really know, besides Hunter Freeman, who is a quote unquote assistant to Nightcamp? So good move, I guess, right? Because that's they all wanted him in Philly to be their replacement for Albright.
Yep, I think it's a good move. I'm looking forward to what he has to work with, what he's going to do. I think bringing in his staff was probably the first move, and of course, FC Cincinnati cleaned house, so there is plenty of room for probably even some more of his old buddies to come along. But let's transition. We have a guest on the line. Adnan from Stars and Stripes FC is going to join us to talk about the US-Mexico match, probably the biggest deal of the month, maybe the rest of the year in soccer. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. Glad to be here.
You know, U.S. stand in second place through 6 matches. They have 8 to go, and these are really the last 2 big ones of the year. Do you believe the team is performing right about at expectations or better than expectations?
So for me, the only thing I care about is, can they get to the World Cup? You know, it's just I was covering the team back in 2016, 2017, and it's just, that's such a gut punch for me. I think that's the big picture. Get there, and let's see how we do. I don't mean that like as a downplay the talent, that level that we've got. I'll go ahead and I'll say this. I think the team might win the World Cup in 2026. I'm really bullish on them. We've got a lot of really good talent, but for me, it's, one step at a time. You just got to get to the big stage. After that, who knows? Yeah.
You're right. I mean, treat one game at a time, I guess, is what Coach always says. This window is only 2 games, but it's huge. I mean, winning at home would be a huge boost our chances, and not dropping points down in Jamaica where they're going to be playing in an empty stadium. That's a very important road game for us to make sure we punch our ticket through to Qatar. What do you think of this roster so far, especially with the glaring, I guess, hole of no John Brooks and then Serginho Dest is out hurt?
For me, I'm actually mostly okay with the roster. I know Brooks, he's like the most decorated defender we've got. And his passing is spectacular at times. But looking at who else is on the roster, Miles Robinson, Walker Zimmerman, even Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie doesn't really make me feel too worried. We beat Mexico with him already. So, in terms of center back, I'm not too worried. I'm a little bit bummed that Dest couldn't make it. It's just, he's been on such good form. But on the other hand, he was probably the worst player on the field for the Gold Cup final. So it's not the Gold Cup, I'm sorry, the Nations League final. So for me, it's kind of like a mixed bag there, like, promising player, but I think the team has depth in those positions. I'm not worried about that in the short term, at least.
And we're talking about depth, maybe to build on that a little bit. One of the names that was in that big 3-2 win was Christian Pulisic. He's returning from injury at Chelsea. He played about 15 minutes against Malmo, and then he played about 5 minutes, I think, at the last Premier League game. Do you think it would be realistic that he could start on Friday?
I really don't know. Tuchel, I saw a tweet with him being quoted saying, please don't play him too much. Yeah. We want him back. That one, I think, you gotta ask the physios for that. It's just Pulisic he's the most experienced player in terms of qualifiers on this team. It's either him or Yedlin, and Yedlin's not a starter. So for me, it's, if you can get him on the field, get him on the field, but that might mean he doesn't start. Maybe he's on the bench or whatever. I imagine Berhalter really wants him to start.
Great. Adnan, the roster was released, and we only have one true striker going out this week. Do you think that's a little naive of Berhalter? And why not bring in Sargent or DK? Or do you think maybe someone else could fill in that role?
Yeah, for striker, for me, I think that's just like the hard position right now for the national team. Looking at it, we feel good about Pkwy right now. I think everybody, for the most part, at least on a conceptual level, feels good about him. Beyond that, it's kind of like none of the options feel super great. You've got DK, you've got Pkwy, you've got Sargent. DK's just coming back into form, I think. I think he had some injury, overworked. Sargent, he went from Werder Bremen to basically the exact same thing in England with Norwich City, I think.
Yep,
Norwich,
Norwich.
It's just he's not even playing striker; he's playing on the wing. As it is, I'm not feeling great about Sargent. I think he's a good defensive striker, but it's just so tough seeing him where he doesn't make those very dangerous runs. For me, I think he needs more time. And after that, it kind of becomes, who knows? The one thing for me with Ferreira is Ferreira plays every day with Pkwy with FCD. So maybe that's something. Maybe Berhalter wants a little bit of that, option to play a false nine. And of course, I don't know, we've seen it, but hypothetically, we can put Tim Weah up there. In terms of just these two games, I'm not really worried about having a body to play striker. I think we've got that. It's just kind of answering that long-term question of, okay, who's the number one there?
Yeah, it's going to be a great, great question to see over the next 8 or so games. Another huge question out there, and I don't know if this relates more to having no Brooks or no Dest, or could relate into that, but who do we think we're going to see in between the sticks? I mean, you got Matt Turner, who's probably one of the best shot stoppers in Major League Soccer, and then you got Zach Steffen, who's more capable, I guess, with his feet. I guess logically you'd think all's going to depend on how we play the tactics that Berhalter's going to set up.
Yeah, for me, goalkeeper is just one of those things where you can go 4 or 5 deep, and I feel like the U.S. is good at goalkeeper. Sean Johnson feels like a distant third, and I wouldn't really mind if he played, honestly. For me, I could see Berhalter going either way. Matt Turner is supposed to be a little bit of the pure shot stopper, while Steffen's, he's a good, he's still a really excellent shot stopper, but he's supposed to be good with his feet. The one thing with Steffen that kind of worries me is sometimes he kind of overplays his position a little, where he overestimates himself. But either way, I'm pretty okay with it. My feeling is that we're going to see Steffen, especially after that Costa Rica game. He had that early mistake, which kind of I don't think was that big of a mistake with on the opening goal. But he's been playing well with Manchester City. He's been getting time with Manchester City. That's kind of a good sign. Meanwhile, Turner's kind of cooled down a little bit from that extremely hot hand he had last year. So I think Berhalter prizes what Steffen brings. And Steffen's played against Mexico. That's the other thing. It was only maybe 60 minutes or so, but he played in the Nations League final. I think he started in 2019 in that Gold Cup final. So he's a goalkeeper who's been there, on a team where almost no one's been there. That's, that makes a difference.
Come on, Paul Areola's been around. That's a lot of experience.
Hey man, I'm as close to a Paul Areola fan as you can get, and
Well, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in before Geoff here. So we are, as fans, we want to see the sexy names. We want to see Tim Weah. We want to see Yunus Musa. I mean, we want to see all these young, hot players. But we saw a lot of, retreads. You got Leggett on that roster. You got Roldan on that roster. You got Areola on the roster. Walk some fans off the ledge with those names and that we will probably see one, if not two, of those guys in the starting 11 on Friday?
I don't really think Leggett or Roldan's going to start. But I think that midfield is going to be McKennie and Adams, and then I think most likely it'll be Musa, but maybe also Busio. Berhalter's been talking up Busio a little bit, and I've not been watching Venezia, but they're not getting relegated so far, and Busio is playing all the time, so that's clearly a good sign. But I'm feeling a bit down on Leggett. I think Roldan's a bit of a winger myself, but not so much a midfielder. And I've never really seen him or felt he really worked for the national team. So, I can't really argue Roldan, but I think with Leggett, I think it's just a thing where he's that guy who's always willing to jump on the jet and show up for the team. And you look at this team, in looking at overall over the last 3 years since we brought in Berhalter, I went through and I counted. There's over 70 players or so who have been called up and played in a match. He's given like over 40 players a first cap. It's a lot of different players. It's a lot of churn. The big stars, Adams, McKennie, we've had them together since 2016. And I'm trying to think. I'm not sure if Pulisic plus McKennie plus Adams have ever started a game all three together.
Yeah.
Under Berhalter. I don't think they have.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's kind of been this thing where, okay, yeah, the team on a just, basic level is inexperienced. Our big stars are 23 and 22 or 20 or 19, which is nuts. And so you don't have that experience of, okay, go down to Azteca, go down to all these, Kingston, etc. You're playing Mexico. John Brooks played Mexico, I think, just only in the Columbus game, and then he missed out on Azteca, and then he didn't play in the cycle before that, if I recall correctly. Yedlin played a little bit, and then he was also in and out with injury, and Pulisic played, and I think that's about it. Everyone else has been Areola. Areola might have been there, but otherwise, that's it. And, this is a program that's loved its continuity. You look at the men's national team for the United States, we're tied for the most players with 100 caps. We love our veterans. And Berhalter has none, basically. There's no Clint Dempsey. There's no Landon Donovan with 100 caps. Or I guess in like 2012 version of Clint Dempsey. And that's weird and makes it more difficult. The other part is the players haven't played together. And that's where Sebastian Leggett, he doesn't have that, go down to Azteca experience, but he keeps showing up for camp. So people know him. And I think that makes a big difference, actually. Soccer is such a team game. And international soccer is so tough where you're always revolving in and out, and you go back to your club team and you do a different thing. Having a guy who's always there is really useful. And Leggett for me is kind of that he's not been great for the Galaxy, but he's been performing enough, at least up till recently, for the national team to always be in that picture. And I think that's why he ends up being there so much. Now, against Costa Rica, he was dropped from the squad entirely. So I'm kind of curious, is he going to make it even? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not super worried about Leggett.
Well, maybe to, I think, work in terms of like the whole experience thing. We've had 2 games against Mexico in the States, and it seemed like names have stepped up and really thrown their name in terms of getting more time. We saw it with Ivan Horvath stepping in and making that incredible save at the Nations League final. And then we saw Miles Robinson scoring against Mexico to win the Gold Cup. What player do you feel within this roster needs to stand out for the U.S. to have a chance versus Mexico?
I think if any one individual player doesn't shine, I think there are enough good players that will make it. But the one player, okay, so I'm going to cheat. So the 2 players that I think really, really need, really should shine. Tyler Adams, I think he's the most important player on the team. And then Weston McKennie. For my money, I think the way that Berhalter plays, I think he's basically set it up so that McKennie can absolutely shine. It's like, his team. He's got that forward energy. He's also got that defensive spirit or defensive ability. He covers ground. We saw it against Costa Rica, even where he has lots of turnovers, etc. He still dominates the game, and that kind of physicality plus that kind of temperament change that he's had since he moved to Juve, where he's gotten a little bit more dialed in, a little bit more focused. I think this is another really big opportunity for him, to have another really good game. He was spectacular against Mexico over the summer, and I think there's a good chance we'll see that again.
We need a street fighter. He's somebody that can do it. So
I'm not sure McKennie's a street fighter. I don't know. I've not heard of too many street fighters who go and wax lyrical about how much they love Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, so do the little wizard goal celebration. Awesome.
Like a teddy bear. He's such a nice guy.
Oh shoot! Now I can't wait to see it, and we're very, very appreciative of you coming on the show tonight. You're going to be joining us on Friday down at Rhinehaus. Are you excited for that?
I'm looking forward to it.
Good, yeah. It's going to be one heck of an event, and very happy that you and, of course, Stars and Stripes FC are involved in it. And I think you're going to be down in the press box, so you and Geoff need to scout out a spot together for Friday. So, all right. Before I kick off the segment here, give us your prediction for the match. Are you allowed to venture that?
Yeah, you can change it. You can change it.
I can only do one. Give one answer. 2-0.
There you go.
He's not giving us a winner. He's not giving us a winner, though. That's the issue.
Have you been to Cincinnati for a match yet?
Oh, there we go.
What'd you say, Boston?
I said, have you been to Cincinnati for a match yet, or is this going to be US Mexico is going to be your first?
I've been to. So I'm from here.
Mm-hmm.
I went to TQL for the U.S. women's game versus Paraguay.
That's right.
Very nice.
And then I went as a fan for, I think, against Venezuela in 2019.
Sweet. Yeah, the one thing I've heard is the season ticket holders that wanted to go. So not the total number, but of the season tickets that wanted to go, the U.S. Soccer and the club, however it worked out, gave about 98% of those tickets requested to the fans. So I think you'll see a pretty good audience. I think the rest of U.S. soccer fans will be kind of hopeful, and the burden's on the fans to keep that hype going, especially to do it as well as Columbus and some of the other stadiums have done.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time. And where can everybody find you on social media to root for that 2-0 prediction?
Yeah, you guys can find me. I write over at Stars and Stripes, but I've got a Twitter account. You can follow me at ADNAN7631. It's been a blast, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks, man. And we'll see you down starting noon on Friday down at Rhinehaus, man. All right. That was Adnan, and we are very excited to get him involved for this great show we're having on Friday. So, guys, what did you make of this prediction? You feel any more or less confident going into this match?
The USA-Mexico game is always kind of a crapshoot. I mean, if you had asked me if USA would have gone 2-0 against Mexico, playing a B team and a C team against their A team in the league, what was it, the Nations League and the League of I almost said League of Nations, and the Gold Cup, I probably would have told you were crazy. So, I'm cautiously optimistic about this weekend, about Friday, but I like this prediction. If we could get out of there with a 2-0 for USA, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be amazing? Just hearing, and we keep thinking, going to those games and being like, what's this place going to sound like for a meaningful game? And this is really going to be it. The first time, I mean, the women's game was cool, but this is going to be the first ride or die match that we've had in this stadium. And it's either going to sink or swim, man. It's going to be so many emotions coming out of me for this game. Yeah. What was Rupesh says? It's the hope that kills you. It's the ope that kills you, Rupesh.
Oh,
So this is to you guys. This is well, Cincinnati bias aside. Is this one bigger than Jamaica?
So you're talking about the okay. So
on like the matters, because
if we lose this game, I think Mexico's the first place team. If we want to win the group, we need to win this game. But in terms of World Cup qualifying,
yeah,
we cannot drop points in Jamaica. That's my opinion.
I mean, they were talking about, I think, on Extra Time Radio, how, I can't remember who was talking about it, to tell the truth. Let me rewind. But basically, if you go through these two games and you get 1 point, let's say you lose against Mexico and you draw against Jamaica, that is grounds for Berhalter's job to be once again in jeopardy, especially with the extended break coming up. But which one is more important? It's always the next one. It's always the one that you have in front of you. You cannot look past Mexico and say that Jamaica is more important. You cannot look past Mexico and say we're already chalking this up as a win, a loss, a draw, and looking towards the next opponent. That's not how qualification works. You've got to look at Mexico and say we're winning this game, and then we go to Jamaica.
Yeah, if you beat Mexico, though, it looks pretty good from a fan's perspective. I mean, you go into Jamaica feeling pretty good too.
And it's the rivalry game. I mean, I don't care about, obviously points matter, and maybe winning against Jamaica is a bigger thing in terms of points, but you can't lose to Mexico basically at home, especially now that you're playing in Ohio in front of a packed house in what is supposed to be cooler weather. Everything's stacked in favor of the U.S. You've got to win that, and it's the rivalry game. You have to win it.
And that's one of the reasons why, I was in on the call with Berhalter last week. And he was one of the people that was really involved with the selection of Cincinnati. He wanted to get something that was venue that favored a pro-U.S. crowd as much as possible. He liked the increased capacity, and he also knew that, Columbus comes to mind in terms of great venues when it comes to this rivalry. So while he wasn't the one who was saying we're going to go there, he was involved in the selection.
Yeah, he said some. There was the U.S. Soccer podcast with Bobby Warshaw. He was saying that. I mean, it was kind of cool listening to him talk and wax poetic about Cincinnati. And it just, I feel like there's this pressure on our shoulders that we haven't had since the U.S. Open Cup matches versus Red Bull, that we just had to show up. We had to be loud. I mean, I hope my voice lasts 45 minutes.
The pressure is on Berhalter, though. This is his third game in Cincinnati. First game, he lost to us in the U.S. Open Cup. Second game, he lost to Venezuela in Nippert. Third game, he's got to get at least a point in this next one. If he doesn't, he'll be known as the guy who couldn't get it done in Cincinnati.
Oh, well, that there's a long list of that one.
Woo!
Pretty bow on that one. There we
Didn't
go.
see the show going there.
That's funny. Yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm so pumped. This whole week of work is gonna feel like an eternity to get to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But I'm ready for it, man.
Yeah, you said you were on the call. Did he drop any hints as to what way he's leaning as far as player selection? Did he favor anybody?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think he basically constructed this roster just basically knowing that he's got 2 games instead of 3 games. So he has an opportunity to play one guy for 2 straight games and not have to worry about rotating or giving people rest. On the phone call, there was, I think, a lot more coverage in terms of the new people and not necessarily the Legettes or the Areolas. Most of it was, I think, primarily the injuries. Pulisic, how well would they, monitor his numbers? Would they start him? Would they not? He was pretty on the fence in terms of that. A lot of it turned to Dest as well in terms of, would you have tried to get Dest to come and play? And he's like, if I knew that I could play Dest, I'd bring him. He covered a lot of things in terms of just, I think, some of the new players who really don't have a lot of history with against Mexico. But he really, spoke of them in glowing terms. I think it's good to see him positive, but it's also as a fan, you're like, okay, now I hope that they can put their money where their mouth is with this.
So if away fans listening to our show right now, so we've all done game day or match day. What's your go-to advice? I guess we'll go around the horn on this, but what's your go-to advice for someone visiting Cincinnati? Like whether it's something they should do on match day or maybe even the night before, or whatever.
Rhinehaus, baby. Rhinehaus, baby. Friday, Rhinehaus.
Everybody's starting their day at noon at Rhinehaus.
There we go.
Still have a lot of day after us.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, is it a restaurant? Is it Washington Park, Northern Row? I was listening to the Scuffed podcast, and they're doing like a tailgate, like by St. Joe's or whatever it is down there. And I'm like, come join us in the West End. I mean, why go sit in a parking lot when you can experience the greatest inner city soccer stadium in the country? I mean, maybe next to Portland, but I mean, be a part of the whole group, whether it's going to Taft's, going to Northern Row. The pitch is a little crazy, but I mean, there's so many cool places to go.
Yeah, Rupesh recommended Symphony Beer Garden. I finally got to walk in there. I didn't get to stay very long, but I finally got to walk in there. That is a cool. If you remember those old Mecklenburg days, it's got a very similar vibe with an outside area like that. It's neat.
I will say my brother and I went to Taft's before the FCC Toronto game, which was the only game that FCC won in TQL Stadium. So I'm going to probably be going there to try to keep the good vibes going on Friday.
Superstition.
I'm just a little stitious, but yeah.
If you're going to be at Rhinehaus that day, just walk a little bit further and you'll be at Gomez's takeout window.
There you go.
Get yourself a turtle. Learn the basics.
That's in the stadium too.
It's in the stadium too, but get it at the walkout window at OTR. Go around, enjoy the scenery there. You're not too far from Taste of Belgium. You're not too far from all of Vine Street as well. So enjoy the scenery. You'll have a few hours to do so.
Yep. I mean, you got Taglio, you got the Eagle, which is one of my favorites. So if you have the ability to, go check it out. It's going to be one hell of a day.
Start your day with a donut at Holtman's. Why not?
There you go.
Get there before things open and enjoy yourself.
I'm currently looking to see if there is a table open at my favorite restaurant, Che, but I doubt it.
Looking open table the day of the game. Love it. That's a Boston move right there.
Oh yeah, walk right in, Mr. PTO. We've got your table right here for you.
Con has trained you well, my friend.
You can't mess up though. There's so many restaurants down there. Like,
heck, go all the way to the banks and then take the streetcar over if you can.
How do we forget about Findlay Market?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Get there early before the bagel bar closes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did we had a podcast special breaking down the US roster with my friend Joe Rancio that released yesterday, and there's a bunch of downloads on that. So I'm hoping that a lot of you, maybe new people to Cincinnati Soccer Talk are listening, but come interact with us. If you want to send us questions on social media, we're always willing to give our advice. Some of us are a little bit more hip than others. I'm a follower in that category, so maybe ask Geoff. Jason, you're kind of new.
Yeah.
Ish.
I mean, Jason, do you got a spot that you found in Cincinnati yet?
Like I mentioned, Taft's Eagle is also one of my favorites, but I got to be prepared with an empty stomach before I go in there because I'm coming out full.
For the love of God, don't go to the Hard Rock Casino or Hard Rock Cafe.
By the time you get there, it might be renamed.
Oh.
Hey, that's a good local joke. No one else will understand that, but
no, but for real, you mentioned start your day early. I think if you're coming into town, take a day of it. If you have the opportunity to do some stuff on Thursday. When I was living outside of Cincinnati, I would tell people Cincinnati is one of the most underrated cities in America. And I believe that. Come to town, check it out, because we got a lot of great stuff going on here.
Oh, yeah. Hop on a pedal wagon.
Streetcar nowhere.
A lot of my favorite stuff is really close to Rhinehaus. Actually, it's on Main Street. It gets overlooked all the time, especially as you get closer to Vine. But you got a lot of cool bars there. You got Wise Guys, but Goodfellas. You got Japs. You've got the old Neon Space, which is now something else, but it's still basically Neons.
If you go to Wise Guys, you're not making it to the game, pal. And I know you.
You put this live show like two buildings down away from my favorite bar.
Boy. So
we know Boston.
Well, we probably should move on, huh? Final thoughts?
Oh yeah, final thoughts. I guess I'll kick it off. I want to give a big shout out to two very important people that feels like a eulogy, but they're just moving on to different roles within the FC Cincinnati supporters culture. But the Innenstadt president Jared Handra and the Pride president Chris White, I think both of them served 4 or 5 years in their roles. Transitioned the club from USL to Major League Soccer. Fought through COVID. Fought through getting people, to keep showing up through terrible matches and terrible games and seasons. And these guys really did a hell of a job in balancing everything over the past several years and building a great culture. I mean, they get a lot of crap for little things that might have gone wrong, but these are the guys that fought for capo stands and fought for rigging and had the tough discussions with the club. And I just want to give a big shout out to their involvement. They've come on the show when asked to spread the news, and they're never afraid to face the music or give advice or get people involved. So just a big shout out to Chris and to Jared, and can't wait to see what the future holds for these two great guys.
Good final thoughts. We will appreciate you. Both will be missed. You've been friends of our show, and we wish both those groups well with new leadership, whatever that may be. I'm sure they have elections and such. Maybe we can start a betting site on CST.com of who will win the next elections at this thing, so we can try to make some money off this. But Geoff, what's your final thoughts?
I mean, we're talking about goodbyes, and I don't want to trivialize things. So, I want to, on behalf of, I think, supporter groups, CST, I want to thank really all the players and coaches who have stuck it out with FC Cincinnati. It was a very difficult year, and you bled, you sweat, you cried a few times out there, you jumped for joy, you left it all out there as hard as it is, and I want to thank you on behalf of everybody else. I don't speak for everybody, but I want to thank you guys. But I also want to wish a happy retirement to Chris Wondolowski, all-time scorer in MLS, 171 goals over 471 games or 417 games. Was the MVP in a stellar 2012 season, where they should have won the MLS Cup, but he has won it twice with Houston back in 06 and 07. And this might be the end of sort of an era. I don't think we're ever going to see this record broken, just because if you are a superstar in the MLS, you're either coming down from the twilight of your career, or you're on your way to Europe, or greater, I think, greater aspirations in mind. So on behalf of everybody here, this is the passing of a torch. Thank you very much, Chris. Good luck in retirement.
Very much echo. All right, Jason.
I just got to say how excited I am for this weekend. I mean, this is the biggest event to come to Cincinnati in years, probably since the All-Star game. And unlike the All-Star game, this actually matters somewhat. It actually has consequences. And I just hope everybody goes out, enjoys themselves safely before and after the game. And I'm really excited to see what American Outlaws and all the other supporters have in store. I know they were working hard for paint night these past week. And if there's one thing that we have a lot of, it's creative people here in Cincinnati, and our TIFO game has been on point. And so I'm really excited to see what they have in store. So just so excited for this weekend. Can't wait to see you guys in person finally at Rhinehaus this weekend. So.
Yes. Join us. I can't say it enough. We want to thank all of our awesome patrons who support Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I didn't get a chance to read the full list on this episode, but we will. We hope to see you in person. Come come say hi to us. You support our show. You make everything possible. You make Friday. You make live shows possible. So if you get the chance, we would love to see you. We would love to shower you in gifts. And thank you for everything you do for us. I also want to give a shout out to Xavier. Their women's team is the 11th seed. They won their conference, and they are in the tournament. And they actually have a decent shot at this thing. So follow Xavier's women soccer team as they continue. I think, what is it, Saturday versus Milwaukee, I believe, if I wrote this down correctly. I've tried to keep an eye on them ever since Ryan Sparks alerted to me of the serious run that they're on. I'm ashamed to say I didn't know about it until then. So now's the time to perk your ears up and check out some local college soccer. There's always something going around in Cincinnati. That's the cool thing about our soccer scene. If this was a normal season, though, we would be bidding you farewell, but we want to see you Friday, so come on down. Our sponsors are hooking you up. There's a beer, there's food truck, not being at work at noon. What else could you possibly want? Your kids will ask you what you were doing the day the biggest soccer game of 2021 was played. Tell them you started at CST's block party. But I want to thank so much to the cast tonight, recapping the season, U.S. men's national team talk. These guys can do it all. Bryan, Geoff, Jason, I know I'll see you down at Rhinehaus this week. Drink some Swear-O-Wax, support local soccer, see you at the USA match. And as the big man used to say, watch your tackle.